Yeah. Yeah. Rolling the way she move. Yeah. Rolling the way she move. Hey, I'm moving faster than the speed of light. Straight ahead, thinking me and shorty airtight. Love to love you every night when the sun dies. Strong, slow, funky.
What up, everybody?
You leaving in the morning, but I'm still.
This is Black Power Media.
Stuck from that crucial that was so.
This is the Remix Morning Show.
Later on about it, called the
I go by the name of the Ear Doctor.
Yeah. Come on.
And your host for the day,
In the way that I move. Yeah.
Dr. Jared Ball.
I bring your head.
And we up in here, y'all. Go, DC, where you at?
This is what it sounds like when I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Did I
Get
take
busy
you
with the
home?
pocket.
Did I
You
take
took me home,
home?
man. You took me
Mother's
home.
biscuits?
Mama's biscuits. I'm trying to tell you. Mama's biscuits. We
Grandma's
would hit
biscuits.
the pocket now. We would hit the pocket now. Don't
Yeah.
hate. There was a lot of hate for the Mama's biscuits, but we would hit the pocket. My man Parrish, and we would hit it. We'd be like, tonight P stands for percussion. And he would get on them. Man, we was a little bit nice, man.
You know what's crazy? We didn't really acknowledge Go-Go until doing the butt with EU. Like, that's when we really was like, oh, that's Go-Go music. Even though it was all the way back with Salt and Pepper and all this different hip-hop, Heavy D, and all that. Especially Teddy Riley. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In terms of the hip-hop influence and yeah, absolutely. Of course, Go-Go goes way back before that. And of course, the butt, no disrespect. I mean, it was great, but it was a more commercial version.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't, like it's not, but that's what happens when the business gets involved. But we were also talking off air, and this is something we got to come back to at some point. That track you just played to open us up is on the top of my list for my blasphemy remixes and remakes list. Because I actually think 911, and that was the name of the band. It was a collective of go-go legends who formed that band. And in fact, you can see an interview with at least some of them that I did with my man Bashi Rose at imixwhatilike.org. We did a mini tribute to Go-Go document or news piece package. But anyway, D. Floyd, to be specific. Go-Go Mickey was in that in the interview with us, at least. But anyway, but D. Floyd and them in 911, my argument is they did a better version of Sade's Cherish the Day than she did. So that's why they're on the top of my blasphemy list. Like, not all remakes are better and not all Go-Go remakes are better, but I think that one was.
And Sardines. That was the other joint. And Pork
Junkyard
and
Band. Yeah, Sardines. Hey, and Pork and Beans.
Yeah, those were the two that got played outside of DC.
Right, the butt and Sardines. Right. And I want to say there was one more, but that broke out. But those were definitely it. A little bit of Chuck Brown would get played outside because he would do a lot of the old jazz standards. He would remake them.
And then the Water. The Water was the other joint that we would play at the parties that have everybody.
Well, DJ Cool broke out. That was one who broke out. Get in the water dance and man, he had a Let Me Clear My Throat. Like he broke out a little bit, but
and that had Bismarck and Dougie Fresh on there too.
Absolutely. So. And if I'm not mistaken, the video was filmed up the road from me in Philadelphia. I believe is where they got a spot in Philly where they actually filmed the video for that Let Me Clear My Throat joint. So anyway,
Hey, listen, you got me on the intro, man. You know we talking music. Who's next? Bumpy Knuckles?
In fact, look at my man. Look at my man with the segues. Check it out. In fact, we do have something from Bumpy Knuckles because good people.
For the people
for the people that don't know. Yeah.
Bumpy Knuckles is a MC that got down back in the day with the whole Premier Guru Gangstar.
That's right.
Also known as Freddie the Fox.
The Militia.
Yeah, and he's definitely the bully of the industry.
The bully of the industry, and to me anyway, Bumpy Knuckles, not only because of his reputation, but just the name Bumpy Knuckles is my favorite rap nickname. It is my favorite, and he's one of my favorite MCs. He Industry Shakedown is a classic album. He went all the industry folks says some rough things that I don't think would play well in today's political climate, but he's also, I think, an underappreciated producer. And this new album that I just got word of is a collection of new music with a whole bunch of artists, including some legends like Planet Asia, Sauce Money, and others, but all produced by Bumpy Knuckles, aka Freddie Fox. So I just was very excited to see that come out, and I bought the album. I paid for the digital album. I support Bumpy. I support real hip hop, man.
What?
And so
that's a question I want to propose in the comment section. What's the last album y'all bought? True. Well,
for me, this
album.
is it.
For you?
I mean, in terms of an album, like, I just paid for this last night, so I would have to say this one. But that's a good,
The last one I got was Moo Moo Fresh.
I did get Moo Moo Fresh.
Big up to Marley.
Welcome, Marley.
Yeah.
Marley, amazing. Amazing. Word up. Amazing. Welcome. It's amazing that you joined, and we invite others to join you in joining as we continue to expand. We almost at 11,000 subscribers, so please do hit that subscribe button. And we are expanding our shows and our projects. And even though we're light on the hosts this morning, in this moment, we are, despite how it looks, expanding. So don't get it twisted.
And he wasn't talking about our skin color neither. And Marley, it's so amazing to be loved. In the words of Luther. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Right on. It's always good to get a Luther reference in the morning.
Hey,
Speaking of important references in the morning, we want to come back and once again invite folks to support those who need it and those who have given and continue to give everything to the people and need a little bit of help in return. I am putting the particulars in the chat, so please do share and contribute if you can, contribute again if you can. We still got a long way to go to get Sister Katia to her goals. And again, just I just want to again just quickly, someone those who know, but if you just imagine the people in your life who do everything for the people, for the community, who don't want attention, get no attention. Katia is that person, and sometimes they need some help, and we want to continue to support it. And as I just happened to see in the chat here, doctors, I was pulled. I'm not in there anymore, but as I was dropping the link in the chat, no, I'm not. I'm sticking to the band. I did see two references that I appreciate in terms of production. A Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip, underrated producer, did a lot of that production. So did Jay Dilla for A Tribe Called Quest. And then I saw Pete Rock in Premier, Pete Rock. Those are my top two Mount Rushmore Pete instrumentals. Yes.
Listen,
absolutely.
One of the hardest West Coast albums was done by Jay Dilla, and that's The Far Side. Bizarre Ride on the Far Side.
That's right. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that.
Yeah, man. He put it down. He put his foot in a lot of dope albums.
He really did. I heard Running the other day in the car, and it doesn't lose anything. Anyway, man, I was gonna say I bought a Dilla. I bought one of the last albums I paid for was a Dilla. What was it? He did Illmatic. He did a remake of Illmatic. What was it called? Was it? I know they didn't call it Dillmatic. I know that's what I want to say. That's not what they called it.
That would make sense.
But they did something. He did that. I think I bought that. That's one of the ones I bought a few years ago. But
Jared said System of a Down. That was System of a Down. I ain't heard them in a minute, but they came out with some hard lyrics to they rock. And Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. I don't know I'm interested to see how this album is because I love some Anderson .Paak and Bruno come with it, but it's just like I don't want it to be too commercial but it's gonna be that band poppy probably. I don't know. I hope it ain't, but it is what it is.
I'm late on that collaboration. I don't know much about them. I have to check that. I'm still back with my Bumpy Knuckles.
He's gonna be playing that for a minute.
I'm gonna rock out to it. I was listening to some of it this morning. It's a little too early in the household to really get it like I want to get it, but later today I'm gonna open up the speakers, open up the windows. We're gonna air out these tree-lined streets a little bit with some Bumpy Knucks, some bump Knucks.
Word. Hey, so what you gonna be talking about today, man?
Man, we got a lot to get to. So whether if it's just me and you, and whether Kamau and them show up, I don't know what's happening this morning. But Kim is a little under the weather, so shout out to Kim. Get well. We will be later on be joined in the next hour by my comrade Dr. Mjiba Freyawat to talk a little bit about the AAPRP and her Pan-African travels and African womanhood. We'll be talking about that with her. For Black August in the next hour. And we have a number of stuff coming. We're going to talk a little bit about Damon Wayans challenging Dave Chappelle to a versus.
I think in the words of Noriega, I think he needs to relax.
I don't know. We can talk about that though. That's definitely a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking. We got stuff from the Congo, the latest on Obama, HBCUs and student debt. We got some Bezos. What is Jeff Bezos's real plan? I think I might have been wrong on what his real plan is for space. We got a number of things to get to.
Okay.
And maybe a little more blasphemy talk too on the music piece, but so a lot more. So plenty of time for people to grab a friend and tell them to come on in, wipe their feet as they come through and hit that like button. A lot of stories to get to, a lot of clips, guests, a lot of good stuff here, and of course you, the ear doctor, doing your thing. So
this is the Remix Morning Show. This is what we do, y'all.
This is what we do.
So I guess it's about time. Usually you would call me in, but hey,
I would call you in, but you here.
So let's give him a little something. We're gonna get to an artist spotlight. That's what we're gonna do. Cause listen, y'all, all y'all out there that know producers that make beats, independent artists, we need y'all music. We need y'all to send it in. That way we don't get taxed by YouTube as soon as we try to play a song. So if you got something, send it in to eardoctormusic1@gmail.com as you see on the screen. Send it right there and listen, I'll get it played for you. We need some beats. We need all that. So just send it our way and we got you. All right. So let's get to it.
Go.
Artist Spotlight.
Remix.
All right. I ain't used to this. I'm back right back here. Anyway, this is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and this is Black Power Media. Make sure you see that little like button. Hit that. And tell somebody else to hit that subscribe button if you already didn't subscribe. And go to patreon.com to Black Power Media and drop something in the bucket. All right? So anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to give a little artist spotlight to one artist that came on the Renegade Culture Show, and he goes by the name of Joe Stu. Now, you can catch him on one of the Renegade, I believe it was the Obama, Kwame, and Palestine. Yeah, it was that one right there. So let's go ahead and get to it right here, right now. Joe Stu, y'all. That's how we do. Bam.
Yeah. Joe Stu. Shout out to Renegade Culture. Shout out to Soul Food Cypher. All those watching and all those in the struggle. Here we go. Check it. Let's go. Life's a beach in the tide high. She may be edgy, but only when crashing on the shoreline. Expect the best when Stu rests less and the stress be too heavy to bench press. Lungs left breathless. Yet still I rise, rose from the concrete. No pesticide, I walk confident, though petrified. Got a ticket with destiny, and I'm next to ride on a roller coaster called your dreams. It plays out like 3D scenes upon an IMAX screen. I jog daily, but run no laps. Run movements that jog your memory for further improvement. They don't run bricks, they just run into them. When gathered as a wall, that's really an illusion. Not here to entertain for music. Mistaken identity for those who lack prudence. Hear he clearly, hearsay, don't fear the competition of pitfalls that ever come near me. Deliver this message sincerely, whether the weather shine bright or clouds dreary. Proof to the theory of consistency, ancestor blood, Nubian antiquity. Y'all is cheap and I never paid mind to those who disagree or ever felt differently. Those thoughts don't align with my symmetry. Allergic to the trends and the gimmicky, market too finicky for clones. So I always speak truth when I'm on the microphone. Many nights alone, mad that my parents gone, but wife gave me a son. I thank God that my family grown. Never been the one for the sweet tooth, so I just put medicine in the candy cone. Introduction of the introspective introvert. Things working out good when you put in work. Introduction of the introspective introvert. Things working out good when you put in work. Shout out to Renegade Coach Joe Stewart.
All right.
What's that? The Renegade Coach is in the building.
Yeah. All right, so that's what it is. Let me go ahead and kill that noise. So that's Joe Stu. Check it out on that Renegade Culture. We got a lot of stuff in the library y'all can go check out, but that's what it is. Let's get back to Jared. I know Remix Morning Show. Word.
All right, family. That's what's up, man. That's what's up here, Doctor.
Joe
Appreciate
Stu, that's
that.
how he do. And he's a teacher, historian. So it was a good interview, even talking to him and even understanding what he's dealing with. And speaking of teachers and dealing with the stuff going on in school, no Kamal today because
no Kamal.
You know, that
COVID's
running wild.
COVID issue. Yeah. So no, we're not trying to alarm anybody. He and his are fine, but there is apparently an issue that requires him to pick up the kids, and so hey, we got to give the people what they want. The Remix Show will continue. I will hold it down, and we just make it through. But I also want to say about your boy that you just featured there, I really appreciate, because the other thing that he also demonstrates, and he also clearly is an MC that knows you do not rhyme over vocals.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Marcel P. Black, and shout out to the real MCs that step up there with their instrumentals and make it happen. That's what's up.
No doubt.
So,
no
anyway,
doubt.
Thanks for that, man. Appreciate you.
Got you. I'm gonna let you rock out, or you want me to stay around?
Yeah, we're gonna do it. No, we're gonna make it. No, we're gonna make it, man. I got you, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna hold it down. I got, I got Sister May in the background, so we're gonna spin that globe and get into some news and a whole bunch of stories, man. I got it. I got you. I got the remix. Let's go. All right, May. I know you're here, so we'll make it through. So let's go ahead and spin the globe and get into some of these news stories. And I'll hold it down until we get to our guests in the next hour, until the Remix full crew reconvenes here on Black Power Media. So let's spin that globe and get into these stories. All right, good people. Again, welcome to the Remix Morning Show here, Black Power Media. Again, I'm Jared Ball. Happy to hold it down. Usually we have a full crew, but the world keeps spinning and people are unfortunately called away. And when that happens, somebody step in and I'll hold it down the best I can. I will ask Sister May that if she catches anything in the chat or in the comments that is worthy of some attention, because I'm not in the chat. Please do highlight it, and we can bring that into the mix as well, pun intended. But as I mentioned, to start off, I thought what I would do is I thought this was very interesting, as I said all the time. Oh, Hold up now. Well, hold on. I'm there. I was about to say, I was about to give you a second.
Oh, I had to walk up 10 flights of stairs to get to y'all this morning. Ooh.
Jackie, I am always happy to see you, but I will say it is a extra special pleasure to have you pop in this morning, as we are a little bit light, and it's always good to have you and others to rap to. Anyway, so I'm glad you made it up those flights. Glad to see you here, and welcome and good morning. It's good to see you as always.
Good morning. It's always good to see y'all, as it were. You know, it's just, I feel like today is going to be one of those days where I'm going to have to be praying a lot because it's starting off real interesting.
All right, well then, let's what I thought would be, let's ease into it a little bit with this story. Give you a chance to settle in, give everybody a chance to settle in, and before we get to some more difficult issues and news and topics, this is something I thought was fascinating and something I honestly had not considered. But I want to play this quick clip from Comedy Hype, the channel I talk about all the time and have borrowed from, etc. and so forth. But just check out what Damon Wayans says here in response to a question about whether he has been watching the Versus series that has been sort of taken over lately.
He asked you, have you been watching Versus?
No, I have not.
You haven't gotten to Versus?
Do they do it with comedians?
They should, right?
Who would you go against?
Chappelle?
Ooh.
You would go against Chappelle?
I'm calling them out.
Oh, you heard it on this show. You're calling out Dave Chappelle.
Versus Damon Wayans.
Oh, man.
Somebody get Timberland and Swizz Beatz on the phone right now, please.
I'm on the phone line right now.
Now, as
So that's all I had from the clip. But what I thought what they did was interesting on Comedy Hype. What they did was they had a discussion about how legitimate this calling out is. And I thought they made some good points because a lot of people may not be aware, given how big Chappelle has become, the extent to which Damon Wayans has a pretty extensive career, both on stage, on screen, on multiple screens, and for a long time. And they've been, and myself included, have forgotten some of his funny routines. So they ended up having a discussion across categories and said, if it was a stand-up routine versus routine competition, most of them gave it to Chappelle. But if they were saying, if you're playing clips or talking about the careers on film or on TV, Wayans would get, and in fact, one of the three panelists actually said that the stand-up would be 50-50 split.
Now, I am not. And he blazing.
I'm jumping in. Go ahead,
jump in.
No, I think because we've forgotten all the work that Wayans has done, he's a legit funny dude. And I think he would give Chappelle a run for his money, and I think a lot of people would be surprised by that. But I also think, Chappelle, some of his routines have not aged well, if you know what I mean, with the way that we are kind of examining ourselves in society. So, I don't know, but I on the whole Versus thing, I just think that, we've gotten too bored. We need to read more. I enjoy it, but people be putting way too much. I mean, they're enjoyable, but I think when I saw the one with Earth, Wind, and Fire and
Isley Brothers.
The Isley Brothers, yeah. Abdus and I were watching it, and we were like all excited. And then he was like, "Hold up, are they just playing records in the background?"
Right.
So I think that the whole Versus thing is, if we're really seriously talking about having a Versus for comedians now, we really need to read more and step away from it.
That's an interesting take. Go ahead, your doctor.
I'm saying what would be dope if they set it up in the schoolyard, like how we used to do back on the day, and actually just be cracking on each other. Or if they did skit for skit, you talk about In Living Color, Homie the Clown, the drunk dude that could go against the crackhead that Dave Chappelle does.
Men on Film.
Yes,
that joint was hilarious.
And then you got what the sitcom he did with the family. I mean, Damon Wayans got some joints, but they really need to go ahead and have that. Would be dope, actually, to have it happen. Just to because basically bringing out a catalog a lot of people haven't seen before. So I think that'll be real dope.
I do too. I thought the very idea of having comedians in a versus, I hadn't thought of that. I thought that was good. That was a good idea. And anyway, it was interesting. And to think back on Damon Wayans' career, that is, I think a lot of people won't remember it because he doesn't have the $60 million Netflix deal.
Mm.
But other than the Chappelle show, Dave's career on TV did not go well. Whereas Damon Wayans had a pretty good career on TV.
Yeah.
And he also had a better career in film for whatever that's worth. Chappelle's film career isn't that strong. But anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Keep with it.
There it is. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. Just a little warm up as we get into a little more, serious news of the day.
There's plenty of it. Jesus.
There's plenty of it. And Jackie, jump in whenever whatever you feel. If we don't get to something that you wanted to get to, if I'm missing something, please do. But one thing that I keep up again with my Wall Street on Parade blog. Again, I got to shout them out for the work that they do. It's just stripped down, sort of clean exposure of what these folks are doing behind the scenes in the financial world. And just something that some of us have been pointing to for a long time, following his own former boss. Biden is just bringing the financial crisis guys from New York's Fed's market group to his administration. So just like Obama did, he brought in all of the big time bankers to his administration. And then those people led the collapse, presided over the collapse of in the rebuild and the infusion of made up money back into the elite banks. And then those very same players are being brought right back in to Biden's administration. So as they just say here, President Joe Biden is tapping insiders from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York for key financial posts in his administration. These insiders played key roles during the financial crash of 2008, or the repo loan crisis in the fall of 2019, or the pandemic-related financial crisis of 2020. One of them was around for all three. And then they get into the specifics. And I just want to read this next paragraph because I think this is actually very important in terms of what we do and don't understand about how this system is set up. The Federal Reserve Board of Governors is an independent federal agency whose board members are appointed by the President of the United States. But the 12 regional Federal Reserve banks that are part of the Federal Reserve System are owned outright by commercial banks, thus making these Fed banks private entities. The New York Fed stands out because it is owned by some of the largest and most dangerous mega banks on Wall Street, which also happens to be some of the largest federally insured banks in America. This makes the New York Fed the epicenter in America of the concept too big to fail. And then they proceed to meticulously lay out who the players are. Of course, JP Morgan, Chase, and all of the individuals that Biden is bringing back in, and showing that once again, we're back to the same thing of the people that exploit us the most, set the policy that allows them to do it. And this article, of course, details the $29 trillion money, $29 trillion bailout that was created out of thin air and given to these largest banks over the last 10 years or so. And then they tell us to go start a business, become more financially literate, save your money, et cetera, and so forth, when they're literally creating wealth for themselves out of a policy apparatus that supports it. So anyway, just wanted to quickly highlight that and remind that as I'll continue to advocate, we need something like the after party. We need something that breaks us away from electoral politics and politics as usual, and that starts to break up this monotony. So.
And you know what, Jared, real quick before you move on to the next story, I want to point out what these people do just with the language that they use when they describe their little institutions. They call the Federal Reserve and the commission that governs it an independent commission. How is it independent when the people that are on the board are appointed by the President of the United fucking States? That's not independence. That's ridiculous. That is the president that represents one of the political parties, a particular set of corporate interests, and particular politics, always, when we're talking about Democrats, always neoliberal, always toward, it's always, capitalism, third way, laissez-faire, but, less fascisty, I guess, if you want to call it, politics. That person, the president, is appointing the person to be on the board to run the Federal Reserve. So this person is appointing their friends, their political colleagues, their Ivy League college alma mater friend. I mean, these are not independent people. So right off the break, when we're talking about folks that are on these boards, the same thing with the Federal Election Commission. It's probably the same thing with every federal agency that has, some that who the person who's running the agency is appointed by the president. That person is never independent, and that means the agency isn't independent. So I just wanted to point that out, because I'm like, damn, they just hypocritical and lying from the very beginning of the description of the thing. And I think we've missed that for a very long time.
Now you're right. Hey, look, like my man says, look what the cat drug in. And don't think I don't know what's going on here. I don't think I know what's going on here. Cat saw me up here by myself and was like, oh, hell no.
Oh, no, man.
He's going to collapse the platform.
Hey, listen,
put the
man.
bat signal up. Drag your ass on here.
I'm getting already all types of texts and emails like, yo, what's going on, man? It's like the show's empty today. I'm like, what you mean? We got Kamal, we got Dr. Jared Ball, we got the whole squad up there. They said, nah, man, Dr. Jared's looking lonely up there. So I said, let me go help my brother. You know what I mean?
I'm saying, and I'm offended. I was good. I was good. I was looking forward to having it all to myself. But
listen, I learned.
Here comes Jackie crashing up the steps, crashing through the gate.
Hey man, listen. I learned this little trick from the air doctor. I could dip off if you want.
Right. He'd be quick with it too. It'd be
quick. What's good? How y'all feeling?
It's good to see you, man. Glad you could make it on, man. Good morning.
Yes.
Grand Rising, I should say. Grand Rising,
all that great stuff,
man.
Yes,
all that great stuff. Yes, indeed. All right, I don't know if you wanted to. Once Jackie showed up, I was straight. I was straight.
Okay.
But now I'm really good. Now I'm comfortable. Now I'm about to chill.
Oh.
Hey, well, shout out to the remixes, man. I know y'all in the building. You know what I mean? Salute to y'all.
Absolutely, no doubt. And I don't mean to suggest, and my bad, because I'm not in the chat. I don't mean not to say greetings specifically to the people in the chat. So my bad.
It's all good, man.
Shout out to the remixers. But check this out, man. I wanted to share this one because I just saw this early this morning, and I have to admit, I heard a piece of analysis from this dude. Yeah, looking like that wow. I don't think I've heard. About the Bezos quote unquote space race. So if we could, let me just check out a couple seconds of this, couple minutes, and see if these conclusions that he has reached comport with yours.
I'm expecting him to sound like Wolfman Jack.
The richest man literally ever went to the edge of the atmosphere and was like, so first of all that stuff I said that people are supposed to say, plus we got to move the pollution up. We'll put workers in space. And that's what he's been pretty clear about.
Yeah,
sending the workers to space. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen it. There are a lot of shows out there. You got to catch up on Buckle Teepers, the epics of Star Lake. Hero person. But if you don't know, on Jeff Bezos's Amazon Prime, there's a show called The Expanse, which in part illustrates a severe class divide between the workers who mine the resources, do the dirty, dangerous work, etc., and literally everybody else. That's not only what it's about, but that's kind of what it's about.
All we've ever known is low G and an atmosphere we can't breathe. Earthers get to walk outside into the light. breathe pure air. Look up at the blue sky and see something that gives them hope.
And this is the twist right here. The joke has always been all these billionaires are trying to escape Earth. They're going to go to space while the Earth melts from climate change.
That's what I thought.
As the spouse of a NASA flight controller explains in this thread on the social media platform Twitter, space is awful. It requires tons of people constantly solving problems on the ground while you turn screws and poop in bags and make sure your bones don't soften too much. As Bezos has said, it's about protecting Earth. It's not about escaping. Sure, Elon Musk might try to escape Earth and die on Mars, but Bezos and Branson and any future rocket billionaires, they're not going to live in space. They'll enjoy a quick surf along the Kármán line, sure, but space? That's for the workers. To piss in bottles in Amazon trucks or poop in bags in a penis a little bit. It's like The Expanse, but if a real person wants to do it and thinks it's good and they're rich and they indirectly fund a show about how it's bad. It's an interesting goal. And if you think I'm off the rails with this one, I'm going to go to the website of Jeff Bezos' rocket company, the Blue Origin website. And I'm going to read from Blue Origin's website, their About section, the first sentence. Blue Origin was founded by Jeff Bezos with the vision of enabling a future where millions of people are living and working in space to benefit Earth.
Wow.
So this definitely was a planned statement, like without a doubt.
So I admit I have not heard that. I had not considered it in that way. And as we talked even about here, I had it exactly backwards. I was on the team, they want to get themselves out of here and maybe take a few workers to do the labor. But this is actually interesting. And I because he looks funny and he, I know he's trying to intentionally be funny. I was like, let me check what this dude is saying. But sure enough, you go to the website and the very first line is just as he read it. Founded by Jeff Bezos with the vision of enabling a future where millions of people are living and working in space to benefit Earth. Anyway, so I just thought that was very interesting. And so that seems like a more logical goal. So that's why Bezos didn't really crack the whatchamacallit, because he doesn't intend to go out there. I mean, he just wanted to see if he could get us out there so that he could stay here within their bunkers or whatever they're building in Norway or whatever to live and chill while the rest of us are serving them from out there. I don't know, man. That was deep.
Two things. I mean, colonizers always send their leapfrogs. What do they call it? The frogs to come lay the land out. You know what I mean? That's what they did with the United States. You send the undesirables to get ate up, to get shot, to get, go through and test the waters, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? I could see the first TV show coming up out of there being one of those survival program joints. You know what I'm saying? When you send some folks out there.
Naked on Mars.
Yeah, naked on Mars.
Mars. I bet
on the real. You know what I mean? So I can see that happening within the next 2 to 5 years because of the fact that these folks move in lightning speed. And, I mean, it's what they do. So, yeah, of course, they're going to have, I wouldn't doubt if they have prisons out there. You know what I mean? That might be the start, and it's prison labor that's actually running the situation. So it's the new improved slavery program. So, yeah, let's go out there. Let's see what's going on. We'll go to the line, to the surface, look at the edge of the water, see how deep it is out there. All right, throw some niggas out there now. You know what I'm saying?
Remember when they were looking to colonize here? The British were sending people, like they were like even their own folks, for something as little as stealing a piece of bread. You got sent to the colony.
Yes.
So I could see like, Kalanji was jaywalking. You got to get getting sent to Mars. You know what I'm saying? Like, you going to the penal colony on Mars.
But peep how they did it though. You know what I'm saying? They sent them here first, and they got the report back. Look, it's a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? We got to fight these natives here. They have this strange language. They running around. They got feathers and shit. They wilding out. You know what I mean? They ain't taking those shorts. They don't look like us.
Although Columbus said it would be easy. We could subjugate them easily. He wrote back and said, just send me a few, and we can wipe them out.
Columbus never even made it here. He didn't know where the fuck he was at.
Well, I'm talking about, when he was down there.
Yeah, he was confused anyway. You know what I'm saying? He
In
thought he was
India.
somewhere else. Right. He's on the other side of the world in his mind. Motherfucker, he didn't even know where the boat went. So he was a horrible navigator. But yeah, so then they said, look, we got to go get some servants. And along comes us. So it's the same program. And after they can't subjugate us in that particular manner and we fight for rights and they marching on Mars and all that shit, then it'll be a reboot. And, the prison industrial complex. And you have a Michelle Alexander 200-300 years from now out there talking about the new Jim Crow.
The newer
Jim Crow.
The new Earth. You know what I'm saying?
The wild thing is he mentioned a television show that originally airs on the Sci-Fi Network, I think. That you can get it on Amazon Prime. I hate that, but it is very good. It's The Expanse. And I'm a sci-fi geek. I love sci-fi. Me and Abdus have probably seen every sci-fi movie that exists, even the bad ones, even the stupid ones. The Expanse is one of those rare sci-fi series that is very good. It's very based on science. There's some problems with it, but it's a good show. It's entertaining, and it does deal with colonization. So there is this element of the workers in space and whole generations of workers. Their physiology is changed to where their bones are softer. They can't survive on Earth, so they stay up in space on these mining colonies, mining the asteroids and all this stuff. And of course, what happens? War breaks out because working class and oppressed people don't want to be oppressed no more.
Shock.
But yeah. So then there's this other movie called Elysium where the idea that we had that the rich people want to
that's what I thought was happening
off to space. Yeah. How does that end? It ends in a war. So it doesn't matter what these folks do, whether they're going to send poor folks, the incarcerated or whatever off to space to make room for them here on Earth, or whether they're going to use us to create the infrastructure so that they can live in space and leave us to fight over what's left on the Earth. All of it's going to end in revolution. So we might as well get that shit done right now. I mean, seriously.
Well, Jackie's saying that. If Jackie's saying that and she a Christian, you know what it mean to me. That was my Malcolm quote right there. Amen. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Shout out to college.
Hey, Kalanji, since you did make it here, man, honestly, I watched the story you had prepared for us, and I don't know if you want to run it, but I will offer up a trigger warning for I don't know, trauma porn, whatever warning or whatever. I found it to be a very traumatic video, man. And I honestly am going to close my eyes and mute the screen while we run it straight up. I can't watch it again. But I think it is an important story at the same time. So I honestly don't know. I'm always, on a fence about how to deal with this stuff. But I will at least offer the warning if we want to run it, and I'll just shut myself down for a second.
I tell you what, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, because I'm froze on this end and I can't see you all, so I'm going to do a reboot. So let's go to another story and then come back with that, if that's cool.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Right, because I don't know if you guys see me in that.
Yeah, I got you. All right.
Okay.
Well, one other story that I wanted to bring up, and is I was looking up. Frankly, I feel like we don't. Sister Tierney Cherie is going to be coming back on and be more engaged shortly, and I know she covers a lot of the continent, which I think I admit in my own work I'm woeful in my continental African coverage. But I was looking at this recent story about increased U.S. Special Forces involvement in the Congo, and I thought I would play this short clip. Where it's explained that, well, I'll just play this short clip and we can get caught up very quickly on what's happening with the U.S. in ramping up its engagement in the Congo.
I think, Peter, we have to get away from this narrative that comes in disguise of a diplomatic assistance to the Congolese people. We know for the fact that the U.S. Special Forces have been in the region training the Ugandan army, training the Rwandan army, and we know for the fact that those countries are major players in the conflict in the DRC in 1996. So to make it seem to appear that now they are coming at this point, I don't buy that idea personally for a person who have been following the situation in the region. For me, what I would say, and I dare say to challenge anyone who will bring any other counter narrative to what I'm saying, is that the U.S. is there to protect its interests. We know for the fact that there have been geopolitical realignment in the region where China was getting much influence during the Kabila regime, where some of the Chinese companies were taking over. And we know for the fact that in the region where they are coming from, under the guise to protect the Virunga National Park, is where there was much discovery of oil in Lake Albert.
So what he goes on to say in the rest of the clip that right there is that, and this goes back to what we talked about on the remix the other day, if not yesterday, in fact, that as Biden is being credited in some circles for drawing down the war or ending the war in Afghanistan, we raised the question of what was the likelihood that he would start another one, or and while this is not yet a full-scale war, what it is speaking to is the continued engagement on a smaller level, using more than the 800 or 900 or 1,000 military bases and lily pads all around the world that the U.S. has, to send their special forces in there to help protect the wealth of the region as it flows outward to the west. So he goes on to talk about not only General Kip Ward, who was one of the first heads of AFRICOM, who helped set up the situation, who comes out of Morgan State University, by the way.
Don't brag about that one.
Well, I'm just saying, I think these are the contradictions that I think are important to point out.
Do it.
Yeah. But the point is that is mentioned in this piece is that 70% rather of the oil that's being shipped in the pipeline from Tanzania, I think from Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, I think was the pipeline is running, but 70% of the oil going through that pipeline comes out of the DRC. So U.S. special forces are being sent in there as it's being claimed that forces are being drawn down in other parts of the world. This is sort of that same kind of pattern. And I think if we pay more attention, we'll see more of these hot spots popping up around the world with U.S. special forces involved in them in a variety of ways. So anyway, that's just.
I mean, if they can't handle Afghanistan, taking your monkey ass to the Congo, you really, I mean, you be better off in man, listen. I mean, first of all the millions of people who have lost their lives in the Congo, shout out to all the troops out there in the DRC that's trying to survive and live, so on and so forth. But you monkey motherfuckers take your ass to the Congo with that bullshit, and you think you got ran up out of Afghanistan. You got a whole nother program coming. I think that one thing that we need to do is a story or a special on U.S. sponsored terrorism. You understand what I'm saying? We need to talk about all these different regions and how this shit, how it's the same, how the song go all around the world, same song. Same shit. No matter where you at, it's the same playbook. And they're not switching it because they don't have to, because they're not challenged. But the people need to see, if you look at their history and their track record, for you to call yourself an American, you're a strange kind of man or woman. You understand what I'm saying? I always correct folks. They say, as African Americans, I am not African American. Do not put that on me. You know,
I was like what Kwame Ture said when he was asked about his citizenship, his identity and his citizenship. He would just say, "I carry a U.S. passport."
Yeah, basically. You know what I'm saying? I
carry a U.S. passport.
Yes. Right, and then folks get mad. They want to be like, "Well, you live here. I mean, so what?" It's like, folks are in solitary confinement, but that don't mean they're, they want to be a slave, motherfucker.
First of all, I was on a black.
My bad, Jack. We have to fight for our rights. We don't even have to talk about rights because but you can't have rights when everything's wrong.
Go ahead.
On a black journalist trip to Zimbabwe, we had to go through customs in England first, in London, and the group of us, everybody was trying to use the African American or African in America on their customs paper, and the white British dude laid everybody out. It was a humbling and embarrassing experience. He was indignant. He was like, I don't care what. He was like, African American. He was like, are Africans? The Africans I deal with are Kenyan, Ugandan, Ghanaian. What is this African American? You're either American or put your nation of identity on the paper and show your passport. He was not having it. And for me, it was a clarifying moment of saying, on some level, you're right. We're not African Americans. And we're not even, and we can't even claim properly African in America if we can't even move around the world using that identity. We're a powerless, embarrassed group, and this one man in his whack little uniform, making his whack little whatever, with his limited range of power, shut us all down. All this brilliant group of powerful people. I was like, damn, this is terrible. This is not a good look. Anyway,
I was watching the episode of Wild 'N Out, and this clown Soulja Boy was on there. And first of all, his name is Crazy Alone, Soulja Boy. But anyway, he's on there and he said, I'm worth $30 million. And I'm looking and I'm listening to this cat. I'm like, the fact that they told you that this how much money you have, or this how much materials that you have, that's your life's worth. You understand what I'm saying? So you mean to tell me if I have $40 million, I can come buy your ass and you're going to be the professional slave that you are?
Yes.
I mean, you basically acknowledging. So when I hear folks, he's worth $5 million, my life is worth way more than $40 million, $30 million, all that. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. You know what I'm saying? To me, my life is more than whatever Bezos have. You can't pay for my life. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, we fall into this narrative of this is how I'm represented. You understand what I'm saying? I'm a human who has ancestry in Africa, and that's the bottom line, man. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna sit here and argue about some bullshit nationality that doesn't exist. I don't acknowledge invisible borders and boundaries, man. You know what I mean? We got to get to a point where we recognize our worth and our value goes beyond what our oppressor has deemed it, and that's just the reality of it.
Hey man, listen, we're coming up on an ear doctor break. I don't know if you want to get to that story or come back to it later.
Do you want to go ahead and get into it real quick, or
let's go? Let's do it. I'm okay, cool. Again, trigger warnings and all of that, because this has everything in it. Everything in it that you need is in this joint. So I'll just start playing.
How's it going, man?
Matter of fact, start from maybe like 2:30.
Here to make sure.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just right here. This is
in Alpharetta, Georgia. For those who are not familiar, where it's right side of the
man, go stand by your front door.
Same county, Fulton County. So
first of all,
this woman called. This is a mental health call.
Watch him, Marys. Watch him. Watch him.
At his own house.
Yes, at a house he owns.
Yeah, first of all, you're not gonna tell me to go stand by my front door on my property. No.
Well, she actually called the police.
She called the police. That's important to note.
Yeah.
And has already been warned that he was going to get the dog out before he got the dog out. This canine.
Right.
Can y'all come either go over here? Hey, sir, I need you to come over here.
Explain. This is a mental health thing.
Sir, you can't get on. Sir, come.
He said he was acting strange.
Come here. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Don't fight with us or the dog will bite you. Don't fight with us or the dog will bite you.
No. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
It's okay.
Who called you? Who called you? Brother, who called you? Hold on.
Hey, look out. Look out. Get him, Mary. Get him. Pocket. No. Los.
Hold on.
Ow.
Ow!
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Put your hand behind your back. Put your hand behind your back.
Ow!
Put your hand behind your back.
Ow! 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 Get this dog off of me! Ow! Ow! I didn't do nothing to you. Ow! Get this dog off of me, sir! Ow, brother! Get this dog off of me! Ow! Get this dog off of me! Ow! Ow! Get this dog off of me, please! Get this dog off of me!
I warned you, sir. I warned you. Several warnings.
Ow! Please get this dog off of me! Please! Please get this dog off of me!
Okay, we can
Please
pause
get this
it.
dog off of me!
Take it off the screen. Yeah. For those of you who are watching, and I didn't want it to go any further because that was I mean, it's crazy enough. For those of you who are checking it out, this is a call that was made to a home in Alpharetta. The woman in the beginning, and that was actual police cam. The woman who was talking to the pig in the beginning, she called the police on his brother who I guess they've been in a relationship for the last 2 years. She said that he was acting strange. She don't know if he had some bad weed or whatever. And he was punching the walls outside of the home that he owns. Okay. So apparently she's staying with him, but he's the owner of this home. So he's asking the police, you know, who called you? And they're telling him to get on the ground. He's like, basically for what? I mean, like, you're at your home. You're trying to go inside. Now, before that, they're talking to him, the parts you didn't see. They're speaking to him from, there's a number of different officers. The K9 cop was the last one to come, and he's already ready. He's like, listen, I'm telling you, if he acts up, I'm gonna pop the door. Now, dude never got out of pocket. The loudest he got was when you saw his arm, his shoulder literally being chewed. Now, when you check out that video, you will see pieces of his meat under his skin, on the ground, blood, the whole nine. You understand what I'm saying? This is someone, this again, a mental health call where no crime has been committed. No crime. His only crime was attempting to go inside the home that he pays mortgage for. You understand what I'm saying? So again, as we tell you 152,000 times, don't fuck with the police because of the fact that they do not have your best interest in mind. If you check out the whole piece and it's online, the K9 pig is literally provoking this dude, and he's like, he's on the radios like, yeah, he's unruly. We may have to let him off, whatever. Then he tells the cops, get out the way, and you can literally hear him telling the dog to bite him. Now, after he finally gets the dog up off them, after he decides to get him off him, he takes the dog for the walk. The dog's all excited, and he's like, good boy, jeez. Calm down, good boy. You just ate this nigga up. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what we have to deal with. I was attempting to get his attorney, the attorney for the brother. His name is, I believe it's Travis Moya. And I'm attempting to get his attorney on the show so we can talk about him. But yeah, man, this is what we have to deal with. And I just want folks to, be clear that, it's not sweet around here. This is Atlanta, the Black Mecca, by the way.
Let me just say real quick before I have to hop off here, and I know we got to go to the ear doctor in a minute. As a Black woman, sisters, I understand, we're in relationships sometimes and things go wrong. And, from what you described, Kalanji, this was this brother's home. This was his home. And I don't know what was going on between the two of them, but sisters, we need to develop some type of alternative apparatus to handling relationship disputes that does not involve the fucking pigs. We need to stop calling the pigs on our men. We need to stop doing that shit. I don't know what that apparatus is, whether it's family, we got to get family involved. We got, cousins, brothers, his family, neighbors, something, anything. But sisters, we have got to stop using the system against our brothers, because this is the result every single time.
Jackie, I so appreciate you saying that because of the fact that as men, certain things we can't even say. You understand what I'm saying?
That's why I said it.
Defending myself is patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? Disagreeing with you on some shit is patriarchy, and it's fucked up because of the fact that, you know, your fighters, your protectors, who you say don't protect you. You can't set us up for failure. You can't have both sides of the fence. Look, let's deal with shit in a manner that we can grow, not to destroy each other. That shit right there, this man, I mean, this man was mauled. He was maimed because you said that he was acting erratic. She said in her own words, they've been together 2 years. She's never seen him acting like that. Did he hit you? No, he was hitting the outside of the house.
So
it's his fucking house. Exactly.
What the fuck she call the police for?
Leave,
let that dude calm down and be like, all right, you know, an hour later, you check around the window. You all right?
Yeah, you know, do your thing. Yeah, so this
all I have to say, because I want to get to the ear doctor. All I have to say is like Malcolm said, the police do locally what the military does internationally. So I think there's a direct parallel between that story and what we talked about in the Congo. And I'll just wrap by saying Black August and George Jackson.
Yes.
Ear doctor, what's up, man? Listen.
Man, listen. You know, I was gonna come talking about call me a Panangean or whatever they call them, the people that lived before Kemet and all that other time when the word all the
Pangea, yeah.
Pangeans. But yo, big up to my Uncle Shirley. He got killed by cops in Alabama a long time ago, never even got to meet him. So fuck the police. Anyway, let's get to another artist spotlight that came on the Renegade Culture Show that y'all can dig back in the crates and check out. So let's get to it.
Remix.
Woo. All right. What's good, y'all? This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and we are doing another artist spotlight. This time we are going to go to a show that we aired before, which is on the same show that you just seen Joe Stew on. And you can go check out this sister right here. She goes by the name of Theresa Songbird. So let's go ahead and give her shine. Let's get to it.
All my life I've been a NIGGA. So was my grandmama and my granddaddy. And in 9 months, you can add a great grandbaby to your list. You write us off like we don't exist. We took your water hoses and your fists, brown bags full of bullets, bombs in our pulpits. You want to take my word away. When I'm a NIGGA, I'm a natural, intelligent, God-gifted African. I'm a natural, intelligent, God-gifted African. Just like you. Just like you. Ooh, you so black. You so black. When you smile, the stars come out. You so black. When you born, the God come out black as night. Black when it's wrong and black when it's right. Black is pyramids in mathematics. Black is melanized in magic. Black is televised and in need of drastic black advancement. Black enhances, black with chances, black with privilege, black with pride, black on purpose, on the black hand side, black and beautiful, black and blessed and highly favored. Ain't we black and blessed? Black and so much more. Black and nothing less. Black and educated. Black and dangerous. I don't know if y'all knew this, but those blacks with the education be the most dangerous. Because black is brilliant. Black is strong. Black is resilient. Black is song. Black is infinite like hip hop or space. Black is grace. Black is love. Black makes babies. Black babies grow up. Black is tough. Black is hard to do. Black is me. Black is you. Black is not something that we get to choose, but it is something that we get to cherish. It's something that we get to wear and we get to rock this with honor. So yeah, I'm black like my granddaddy and my great-great-great-great-great-grandmama. Back to the black first farmer of black soil and black seed. Black as you need, black as you breathe, black as you believe, black as you love, black is all of the above. Black has always been enough. Black is that lift every voice and sing. Black is that letting your freedom ring and resound. Black is adjective, adverb, color, and noun. Black is crown. Black is clean. So to the black is all everlasting. To the black in passing. And to every shade of black in between. As a matter of fact, if your pupils or your eyelashes are black. Because I really need every human being on this planet to feel applicable. Baby, you so black. Your spirit transcends this physical. Your black is original. You so black. Oh, you so black. When you smile, the stars come out. Baby, you so black. When you're born, the God comes out.
Yeah. So there you go right there. That is Theresa Songbird. In case you do not know, now you do. If you want to follow this sister right here, go and check her out at the Songbird on Instagram. So that's what it is. That is our artist spotlight. Let's get back to the Remix Morning Show, y'all. All right.
Yes, indeed. That was dope.
Needed that.
Right on.
And like I said, y'all can always go back and check out, go to Black Power Media, go to the playlist and go back and check out this Renegade Culture podcast. It was very dope. Had a lot of good information on it. So yeah, time travel.
No doubt. 122 episodes for y'all to dig into till we come back. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Renegade Culture.
All right. So that's what
Appreciate
it is.
you, Ear Doctor.
Yes, good stuff. That song was or that performance was perfect for after what we just saw on that video. I mean, that video is, this is something that took place just a few weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Not even a month ago, maybe like 3 weeks or so. And I just happened to run across the video, and they've been downplaying it. So the police themselves, they haven't been charged or anything. It's just like they saying it's justifiable. So this tells you that someone calls the police on you. You have to sit there and be victim. They wanted him to lay on the ground. And I'm not mad at the man for not laying on the ground. Like, fuck you. I'm at my house. He gonna tell me to lay on the ground. The only thing I would have done differently than he did, they told him not to go in the house. I would have went all the way in the house. You know what I'm saying? You don't have a warrant. You're not in pursuit of any danger. I'm not in danger. This is my home, and I didn't call the police. And whoever in the house called the police, they should get the fuck out and be with you. It's just my thoughts. But anyway, let's move on along. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, I don't have any thoughts that are appropriate for public consumption. I'll rock with what you said. But to that end, there is something that I wanted us to check out, because I know a lot of what we do here is properly lift up our political prisoners and use their analysis and try to infuse their analysis in our work. And just as a heads up, I'm not sure what's going on with our guest, but we'll look to bring Dr. Freya Watt on when she gets here or at another time. But there's plenty to get to, and in many ways, when as you say, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
And there's plenty to talk about. So this was something I was looking at the other day. That as a reminder, it would have been perfect if Kamal was here, because her boy gets a sort of a negative shout out here in a funny way, but. In this discussion, so anyway, a lot of what I at least conceive of us as doing here at BPM is trying to fill the gaps in terms of analysis, bring a lot of that Black Power and liberatory logic to our analysis, and to remind in particular of the not only political imprisonment of our heroes and sheroes, but that they have also been producing analysis for us to continue to work off of. They're not just incarcerated for something in the past, they are incarcerated because they continue to produce an analysis. So even as Russell Maroon Schultz struggles with his health and with his incarceration, and we want to raise him up, I want to highlight some of his work here in juxtaposition to what I saw in this conversation here. Now, what drew me to this conversation was that it's about this guy they call the regime change guru, Gene Sharp. And if anybody's familiar, I don't know if people are, but Gene Sharp was a very popular among nominally left or radical or progressive white folks who talked about the use of what I'm calling soft power, nonviolence, as it's described here. And people who want to take credit for or aspire to nonviolence have been praising this guy for a long time, without realizing, as is exposed in this really important conversation, that Gene Sharp was actually a neoliberal, imperialist who used the phrase nonviolence as a cover for soft power or indirect regime change or propaganda, psychological warfare efforts that are not engaged directly with physical violence. So I just want to play this quick clip of this discussion with Max Blumenthal and his guest here, whose name just slipped my mind. This the author of this piece here. Anyway, it'll come back to me. But I just want to play this clip, and then I want to show you why what we're trying to do here, BPM, and and infusing the analysis of political prisoners is so important. But just check this out real quick.
So here's your piece at Non-Site. You call
Marcy
it Gene
Smith.
Sharp's neoliberal nonviolence. You write Gene Sharp, the Machiavelli of nonviolence, fairly described as the most influential political figure you've never heard of. He's been praised by Howard Zinn and Noam Chomsky, nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize compared to Gandhi. He's been influential in the US activist left, but he's also someone who has links to the CIA and has influenced regime change operations that have been directed by US intelligence and to the benefit of corporations against socialist states. So talk about Gene Sharp. Who is he, and why is he? What do you mean by neoliberal nonviolence?
Yes, and thanks for that introduction, Max. So, I think that you introduced some of the general outlines of who Gene Sharp is pretty well. So he was a social scientist. His focus was on theorizing the mechanics of nonviolent action, which he understood, as you said, to be not sort of a moral system necessarily, but a system of combat. Which is not to say that he didn't have his origins in pacifism. He did, and he had relationships with those in the pacifist movement and in other nonviolent struggles. But this was perhaps one of the most important things about my research, is that it illustrated that really Sharp's perhaps most important and certainly one of his most deliberately sought audiences was the US defense establishment.
Okay, so there's a lot more in that discussion that I think is of value, but the point is that he saw nonviolence as a form of combat. We are often convinced or encouraged to believe nonviolence is supposed to be the antidote or the opposite of violence, and that we should espouse to nonviolence in our movements because they are the opposite of violence. But this is the problem, and this is where even great conversations like the one I'm just showing there fall short, largely because they don't engage our traditions. They don't engage the logic or arguments that come from our political prisoners. And this is just one of my favorite excerpts from Schultz's last book, Maroon the Implacable, where he tries to lay out a lot of his analysis about the world. And this is one area that I think he really got right and is very important. So I just wanted to bring that up in relation to this. So again, as Gene Sharp is being funded indirectly, he worked with the NED National Endowment of Democracy, indirectly getting funding from the CIA, as he's going around promoting to parts of the world peaceful regime change and targeting the Defense Department for his nonviolent combat strategy. We're being told something very different, and even people like Howard Zinn and Noam Chomsky are somehow misled into thinking that he was offering some sort of progressive nonviolent peace platform. But as Schultz says here, what is called nonviolence is often juxtaposed as the opposite of violence by those who want to believe that our species can somehow remove ourselves from the violent universe of which we are a part, a tiny part, while continuing to participate in the violent phenomena that are responsible for our existence, such as the violent movement of tectonic plates that continues to shape the very ground under our feet. Counterposing nonviolence to violence, however, totally confuses the progression of these phenomena. One cannot properly understand violence without recognizing its kinetic aspect, the motion of material bodies and the force and energies associated with that motion. That is a state that the already mentioned examples of violence exhibit. We cannot violate the laws of physics, which dictate that a body in motion cannot be checked without a body possessing an equal or greater counter motion. So we have to look elsewhere if we want to locate an opposite kinetic energy to serve that purpose, since nonviolence, by its very description, cannot be scientifically understood to contain a counterkinetic energy. In fact, the opposite of violence is counterviolence, a kinetic energy force that is capable of providing a counter motion, thereby satisfying the laws of physics, and can also serve as a check on the forward or reverse movements of violence. All things being equal, this is what can lead to a synthesis between the two, which would be nonviolence. So my only point here is to say again, he understood what Gene Sharp understood and what many who claim to be progressives do not understand. Nonviolence is a form of combat, that if you are not engaged in producing an equal or opposite force, even through the means of soft power, then you're not engaged in ending the violence that's coming against you. And just by simply ceasing violent or kinetic energy, you just leave yourself to be a target, giving up any hope for survival or victory. So
absolutely. And it sets you up to be a victim. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, he laid it out so eloquently and so sharp, and it's just like anything else wouldn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I mean, man, here's Russell Maroon Schultz, a man who's done I mean, he's been locked up for what, like 30 years or more right now. 22 years.
I want to say even more than that, but
yeah, definitely. I know he spent like 22 in solitary confinement.
Right.
So he's been out of solitary at least like 7 years. You know what I mean? But this is a man, one of our quote unquote veterans and political prisoners who, you know, remain sharp. You know, although he's ill right now, although he's going through it, these are the people that we need to speak for us. And the thing is, we have to check some of these other folks who are talking this nonsense, because of the fact that clearly it is absolute nonsense for you to come along and say that you should be nonviolent in the face of violence. You understand what I'm saying? Indeed, counter violence. Let's counter this shit in a way that makes folks understand what the hell's going on. If you keep saying like, I'm just going to pray for my enemy and I'm just going to, I mean, like you said, you'll be a moving target. And
even the people that talk about Dr. King, and even Gandhi misunderstand what they were saying. You know, and they leave out the second half of the phrase. It was nonviolent direct action that King spoke of. That because he understood the same point, that it can't just be we're not going to swing on you. We have to be doing something else instead of the swinging that will respond adequately to your violence.
Hey, according to my man Mukasa Dada, who we've had on Renegade Coach as well, with the when he was talking about SNCC, one of the things he told me a long time ago, he said, listen, he said, you see that Bible Dr. King used to have all the time? I said, yeah. He said there was a 38 in it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, don't judge a book by its cover, literally. You know what I'm saying? It's like in Islam, they say, you know, you trust in the creator, but you tie your camel. In other words, you don't just say, you know, I'm just going to put this all in God's hand. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to work. You got to put something in your hand. You know what I mean? And make this thing change. If not, You just saw what happened with my man with the dog. You could be minding your business at your own home. You don't have to be in the streets for them to attack you. You know what I'm saying? You're not even safe in your own skin. And you have to realize that. You have to acknowledge that. And I think that at some point, we have to stop being afraid to be who we are. You understand what I'm saying? We have people walking around with all this costume shit. We're pretending, we're acting like you're not scared. We're acting like I wouldn't go for that. Of course, you're not gonna go for it on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing to threaten your ass. You're gonna get a virus on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, you have to not be afraid to be who you are. That's part of our issue. We are afraid to be who we naturally are, who we say we are. You know what I'm saying?
My only 2 cents on that is that, you know, because it's even just to be fair to what any of us think we might do in a given moment. But in that moment, when faced in that moment, we often, many of us may not be entirely sure what would happen or what we would do. But this is why we need different movements. We need different formations. We need the kind of analysis that I think we at BPM continue to try to offer, and the historical references we try to bring in, remembering what Russell Maroon Schultz said, because yes, I appreciate what Max Blumenthal and Marcy, I think Smith were talking about there, but their analysis cannot be the end all or be all. It cannot be, they have severe limitations that we can help fill the gaps in on our own. And you know, anyway, but look, we'll come back to, we have much more to get to here at the Remix Morning Show. We're going to come back with another Ear Doctor break, and then we can come back to this topic and some others that are relevant. There's some other stories we need to get to as well. Dr. Frewa may show up, and if not, we'll catch up with her another time. But anyway, we will hold it down. Much more coming up here at the Remix Morning Show. So Ear Doctor, what's up, man? I see you back. You back ready for some more. What's up?
Hey, man, don't be scared to be you. Listen, I wear suits with sneakers. I wear scrubs. Doctor scrubs, because they're the most comfortable pants in the world. You gotta be you, no doubt, Kalani. Let them know. Be you and don't be scared. Walk your path.
Right on. Wear your scrubs, son.
Wear your scrubs. And what's them shoes you be wearing? What they call them things?
The Crocs.
The Crocs. Yeah, Crocs. Wear your Crocs, brother.
Mad comfortable. Yo, the older you get, the more comfortable you're gonna dress. I'm just
no
saying.
Doubt. See, I've been thinking about, you know, I see Crocs look comfortable. But shit, I'm in the field with a shield and a spare. You got them Crocs that go work on these concrete streets.
You got to go to the beach with those. You got to be very comfortable.
Yeah, you know, these dogs in Atlanta, these police, shit, they fuck them Crocs.
All right, let's get to another artist spotlight like we do. Let's do it.
Yes, indeed. Remix.
Yeah. Once again, it's on. Yo, welcome back to the Remix Morning Show. And make sure you hit that like, subscribe button down there. And that's what it is. So I've been giving you artists all day. I seen in the comments, yes, I peeked that they want to see more artists. And like I said, make sure if you know some artists and you got some beats, we need to be giving y'all props. So what I'm saying is make sure y'all send it to Ear Doctor Music 1, that's music with a Z, at gmail.com. So send your stuff there and we're gonna get it played. Now, with that said, let's get into our next artist spotlight. We're gonna put it on with my peoples right here. No other than another artist that came through to Renegade Culture, and he goes by the name of Yami Somali. And this was one of the shows that we have Felipe Luciano on, the revolutionary work of the Young Lords Party. So check that out too. But right now, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, Yami Somali, right here.
Yes. Live from East Point. Actually, we in the West End tonight. It's East Point's own Yami Somali. Phantom feeling everywhere though. Cop that out your phone, baby. Yeah. One time. Check it. Easiest thing to do is waste time. Hardest thing to do is draw a straight line. It's easy repeating things from the grapevine. Much harder to take that and make wine. It takes a trained mind, not the lame blind. Easy to say fuck you, harder to stay kind. Have you ever tried to change minds? It's easier said than done. Shit's harder than what Blake drives. If I was simplistic, y'all would still miss it. Cause even implicit, my shit get different. They say it ain't easy when you pimp with it. Unless you're from Memphis, it's hard like emphasis. But I'm from GA where it's easy. to get a PK. Hard to getting over on the freeway. It's easy to shoot gays like East Bay, but it ain't hard to move along to the DJ. So hey, yeah. But trust me, dog, it's harder than it seems. I make it look, I make it look, I make it look, I make it look, I make it look easy. Yeah, Renegade Culture. This episode 92. Y'all rocking out with Yami Somali, baby. Peace. Y'all rocking out with Renegade Culture. Oh, over there? Yeah, y'all rocking out with Renegade Culture. This is Yami Somali. Episode 92. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah. So that's what it is. Yami Somali. Go check out that episode. Felipe Luciano. That was a dope one. So go check that out right here on the Remix Morning Show. So let's get back to the squad. You know what it is, God. All right.
Word up.
Right.
I heard that spray can. That was an instrumental.
Yeah, that was another instrumental, another dope artist by the name of Ekendayo that stays here in ATL. So
no doubt. Shout out to Ekendayo, man. Shout out to him, man, Ekendayo. You know, he's consistent. Matter of fact, he's on the rap for Siafu. Check him out. You know what I'm saying? Ekendayo is a dope artist. And Yamin. Shout out to Yamin as well.
Yes, indeed.
You know, he's been a strong supporter of our work movement out there in the community doing that work. In fact, he is the audio editor for Organizing Is the New Cool, the film itself.
All right.
So he's the engineer for that. But yeah, a lot of dope stuff. That was a dope episode too. Yeah, Doctor.
Yo, it was. Check that out, and I'll check y'all later.
No doubt. Felipe Luciano, Young Lords, check that out.
Absolutely. Among the many important interviews you all have done, talking about that same history we were just talking about. You got to remember that. And it was an important episode in particular because he talks a lot about the racial dynamics in Latin America and in the Latin America, Black America unity divide issue, which I think needs some revisiting as well. So
and he's a journalist.
And that's right.
Yeah, he's on Fox 5, unfortunately, and he's on WBAI with Johanna Fernandez. He's one of the first of the Last Poets as well, former member of the Last Poets.
So, hey, a few more subscribers, a few more members join up, and we'd be hiring cats like that too, right here at BPM. That's the whole point. So,
yeah, I think we should. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That's
subscribe.
again. I mean, I'm trying to sign up.
No doubt.
Because one of the things I just saw this, it was just like, I don't really have a segue other than we need.
This is from Forbes. 300 million a day. You almost made me take my glasses off and throw them. Like what the?
For 20 years, that's what this war cost. So now the other way that I like to point out that it should be read is that's 300 million a day. It's not just that spent and thrown into the wind. It's paid to private contractors.
That's right.
The military industrial complex, war profiteers. It's paid to militias, private. I mean, and all the stuff that this article and other that have been coming out, assassins, all kinds of stuff. We were just talking about what was going on with the U.S. Special Forces in the Congo. The other day, we were talking about, the reporting that was from the Empire Files and Abby Martin and them talking about how the CIA is paying or had been paying Afghan people to be their own private militia to terrorize their own people. So, I mean, that's where this money is going as well. That's what is being funded by this, while they tell us you can't have health care, you can't have housing, you can't have jobs, you can't have, whatever. This is where all this money is going. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah. Or them telling you that there's no money for poor. What Pac said, you got money for war, but can't feed the poor. You're talking about $300 million a day. That's just in Afghanistan. That has nothing to do with Israel. It has nothing to do with Colombia. It has nothing to do with a number of these other different countries around the globe. So this goes to Dr. Jared Ball's point about that money. I mean, you telling me, this shit, $300 million a day just in Afghanistan for 20 years, not for the year, not for the month, not even for the weak. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what can we do for the homeless here in Atlanta? What can we do when it comes to education? What can we do when it comes to healthcare? Imagine if that same money was invested in the healthcare of quote unquote Americans here in this country.
Hey,
Imagine
look, I gotta credit him for that. Jimmy Dore for this point. I heard him make. He said if you take the 60,000 homeless in L.A., just in L.A., and gave them $1,000 a month for housing, that would only cost, I think, $7 billion or something like that, which is pennies compared to what was spent here in one day, much less over a 20-year period to fight a war. So I mean, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. If you're spending trillions of dollars to end up, so some people are saying, well, what was it all for? Well, this is what it was for. The reason, the world is 20 years out from the initial invasion of Afghanistan, the reason it's still the same, that nothing has changed and the Taliban is still in power, is because this was the goal. The goal was just to come up with a reason to give $300 million a day to their friends, which again, to my point about political power, is why we need the after party. We need to be going after the GDP. We need to be going after political power and stop bickering over pennies for reparations, or pennies for even healthcare, or pennies for a business, or or telling people to be financially literate. It's ridiculous. We need to be getting we need political power so we can say, look, if we need wealth to be created for us, we'll just create it. If we need somebody to get housed, we just give it to them. If we need somebody to have healthcare, it's bought and paid for. And I mean, Hiram is right. Hiram stays right about a lot of things. Including what side of Connecticut is better. I was going to say, including what side of Connecticut is better.
Hiram's from Connecticut. You're not about to divide and conquer me and my brother. New Haven and Bridgeport, we together on this track.
You unite on this joint. I hear you. Word up.
Yeah. Right, see how they try to do us, Hiram?
Nah, I'm trying to build the unity.
Hey, Connecticut's small enough. We ain't having it. We ain't taking. We got a united front.
It's all a tactic, man. I throw myself out there to create the unity. Man. I sacrifice myself, man.
I know. We had 3 Connecticut's on yesterday. We had my man Cimarron. We had Hiram in the chat.
And that's why I knew we was going left. That's why the whole thing was falling apart. The whole show.
You noticed the numbers was going up too. But anyway.
They called Connecticut, was like, we got somebody on TV.
Hey, what Raekwon say? Peace, Connecticut. We here. So anyway, yeah. But speaking of Connecticut and military, that's a serious war machine too. We had a serious naval base up in Groton, Connecticut. They had Sikorsky Airlines, the helicopters, and all that type stuff. They had the Colt company, guns out in New Haven, Connecticut. So it was definitely a war country. I mean, war state as well. You know what I mean? But so we just, we ain't tripping over these invisible borders and boundaries. We just shouting out, the people themselves, just for the record. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the governments and the politics. But aside from that, man, that money thing, this money trail is it's ridiculous. I mean, Americans alone, this is how silly the citizens of the United States are. You know what I'm saying? That they can look and see, okay, boom, these folks pumped this amount of money just in one country that they were just forced out of a few days ago. You know what I'm saying? But you can't take care of the basic necessities of what's going on here. So
no, I mean, it's amazing. And these articles that I've been seeing, as everybody wants to now, somehow speak so much honesty about Afghanistan. I mean, a lot of it is really fascinating about how insane the whole thing was, where they were saying, from day one, it's been understood. And the Afghanistan papers that have been released have shown, they have known from day one that this was not something that they could win in any traditional sense. And that they always knew that the Taliban was going to take over as soon as the U.S. left. So it was just a question. And then they were like, well, how can we turn people against the Taliban? So and one thing I saw, they were talking about, well, we will bomb the poppy fields, and destroy the poppy fields, which then just made all the farmers join the Taliban. So then they said, well, we'll buy up the farms and we'll try to make them, grow something else. And then all they did was, if it was like fertile, they would just take the, whatever was being grown and sell it to the Taliban or give it to the Taliban.
Right.
So it was like either way. And then I heard this one soldier was, so I forgot where I got this, man. Forgive me for not knowing my source on this, but this one soldier was talking about how they lived in constant fear because all the U.S. soldiers were told, don't throw away any batteries, because all the the trash would be collected by Taliban or Taliban friendly fighters who would put them all together and get just enough energy to create one more IED explosion. And then they were being sent out, just as was the case in Vietnam, just to draw fire. They had no plan, no mission at the beginning of the day when they left the base to go out and patrol. It was just to draw fire so they could call in an airstrike and whatever. But they were living in just constant fear, total. I don't know, just total confusion and panic, because the only thing that was clear to them was that we're giving $300 million a day to our friends, and everything happening beneath that seemed to be irrelevant or haphazardly thrown together. So I mean, it's
but along comes guerrilla warfare. You know what I'm saying? And when you can take little and turn it into a lot. So that's part of their issues when they keep going into these particular zones. But when you talked about them, talking about, bombing the poppy fields and all of that, that reminds you of what? What was that? That's the thing with Noriega back in the day. You know what I'm saying? It's the whole war on drugs. Let's destroy these.
That's it.
Let's go ahead and we're going to do this in the name of democracy and so on and so forth. And that shit never works. It always backfires. But, I'm looking forward to seeing more of this because of the fact that the empire is scrambling. It's desperate right now, and these bases are going to be worthless after a while. That's just my take on it. That's my prediction.
Well, check this out. Who's not scrambling is someone who helped extend all of this war in Afghanistan and several others. Back to my good folks at Wall Street on Parade here. And please go check out our discussion with Dr. Todd Stephen Burrows about some of the recent literature about Barack Obama. This was a book that came out, a critical book of essays from Counterpunch a couple of years ago. But as they talk about here, related to Obama, as millions of struggling Americans face eviction in the fall, as children are dying in hospitals from a raging pandemic, as his political party is facing a brutal fight in the upcoming midterms, what does the former President Barack Obama do? He throws himself a lavish, celebrity-studded birthday bash at his $12 million waterfront mansion on Martha's Vineyard, with a sprawling dining tent potentially creating a super spreader event. The party was held on Saturday evening, August 7th. New York Times columnist and Pulitzer Prize winner Maureen Dowd gave it the scathing review it deserved, although she's whack herself. But anyway, in this past Sunday's print, in the article, Dowd quotes Andre Leon Talley's take over the top of the soiree. Talley said the Obamas are in Marie Antoinette are tacky, let them eat cake mode. They need to remember their humble roots. Now that I actually agreed with in terms of an assessment that Obama is fully in the Marie Antoinette let them eat cake mode, meaning let them eat cake, which was the famous phrase said by Marie Antoinette of the poor in France, who would at least be able to have the what was it? Because they would have the ingredients. They had it like the egg or whatever to make a cake or something. I think that was where the joke came from. So they could at least make themselves a cake, and then they could eat the cake and survive. But anyway, this is just sort of, again, I think a microcosmic look at what we just were talking about writ large about the $300 million a day. Right. That it is. This is. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
No. And I was just going to point out that this took place on the 50th anniversary of the Jonathan Jackson situation. So
how about
that's what these bastards were doing on that day.
Oh wow!
So,
how about that?
Yeah, so it was a potential super spreader. I'm not going to say what I feel about that. I'm just going to keep it moving.
Anyway, that wasn't the point for me about that. But
No, I'm just saying the things I wish for them for that. You know what I'm saying? The gifts I wish that they received from that particular soiree.
I heard that. But again, this is part of his. This is his reward for 8 years or more of solid service to the empire. This is him cashing in on this is what he was there for.
But we knew that, though. We knew that from jump.
Knew that.
Yeah.
some of us knew that from jump, and we're saying it from jump, and suffered, some heat for it.
Woo,
because
boy.
the propaganda was so strong.
Man, the only thing worse than that, the next worst thing was with your girl, Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
you can't,
man.
don't you say nothing about the overseers.
I thought you were about to say Beyonce. I thought you were comparing it to Beyonce.
Nah, I ain't. Look here, man. We got to build the remixes up before we go for the Beehive, baby. We don't want no problems with Bay.
I don't want no problems.
Yeah, I'm good.
One time,
I don't know what Jay talking about.
One time, I said one thing, and I don't get that much attention on Twitter. I don't get the viral but it was like everybody on Twitter all of a sudden knew what I had said and had something to say about it, and they didn't like it. And all I had done, I had created a graphic after she did that Super Bowl thing, and I said it was Beyonce and Asada. And I said, if Beyonce is I forgot what I used, is a black revolutionary, then what is she? That's all, I was like, because somebody got a $50 million Pepsi tour and somebody else got a $2 million death warrant.
A bounty
put on their back, a bounty on their back. So,
which still stands. Shout out to Asada, you know what I'm saying? Our lovely freedom fighter, you know what I'm saying, who walked up out of that prison in New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to those who assisted her on the way. You know what I mean?
And
please
go see our BLA special with Sekou Dingo featured among them. Hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
But you know what, Jared? I mean, on the real, man, just like, I mean, and listening to like the ear doctor talk about Felipe Luciano and you talking about the BLA special, I got to say this to the folks that's out there. This is it's not a paid gig per se, you know what I'm saying? But it's a beautiful thing to be able to have the opportunity to highlight those who need to be highlighted, to be able to honor in real time. I mean, this isn't something that we were privileged to have years ago. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't call members of the BLA. We couldn't call members of AIM. We couldn't call members of the RNA. And speaking of the RNA, today is the 50th anniversary of the vamping of the RNA headquarters, two RNA headquarters down in Jackson, Mississippi. It's where the RNA 11 came out of. We had Mama Tamu on Riot Started TV the other day. If you missed that, and I'm not just saying that because I was on Riot Started TV, but if you missed it, it is an important, very important piece of history. She laid some shit down. You're talking about, oftentimes, again, you hear people tell stories about what happened during these shootouts, so on and so forth. But you get to hear from someone who was young at the time who survived. You know what I mean? And they were trained, and actually her book comes out today. I believe it's 1148. I can't think of the name of it right now, but definitely check that episode out and go back to the archives and check out a lot of the stuff that we have, because of the fact that, I mean, where can you get Dr. Joy James, Daruba Ben Wahad, Sekou Odinga, Jalil Muntakin, Felipe Luciano. Yep. I'm stuttering.
That's good.
Max Stanford, Mukasa Dada, information on Black artists,
Africa.
Yes, and that's just on the remix. Cynthia McKinney, just so many people, man. We've forgotten some of the people. Cornell West, I mean, work with us. So if you are new to our channel, if you're new to Black Power Media, make sure you subscribe, become a member of our channel. And if you have it in your heart and your pockets, check out our Patreon, go to blackpowermedia.org,
right on.
Because of the fact that we are working on building a serious network. Now, while we're doing what we're doing, be advised that people are going to try to stop this because of the fact that we're too raw. You understand what I'm saying? We're bringing it to you like it's not being brought to you. You can learn about the Young Lords here directly from founders and members of the Young Lords. You can learn about Move directly from founders and members of Move. You understand what I'm saying? So this is the place to be, man. I'm just like, look, man, what they say? I'm not only a client, I'm one of the presidents.
That's right. That's it. Hey, let me before we get to the ear doctor one more time, let me just bring up this one last story here, because the story came out, HBCUs, shout out to my HBCUs, erasing student debt with federal funds brings hope for students and schools. On the one hand, I think it's a nice gesture where there are about 20 HBCUs using some of the federal funding that they've gotten and some other funding to help students cover their student debt. But it's not nearly enough, and it's not going to wipe out much debt at all. And it's something that shouldn't have to be done or carried out by an individual HBCU or university at all. This should be taken care of, going back to our previous stories, by the federal government, by the wealthy in this country who have created enough wealth to spend $300 million a day on one war for 20 years. They can spend that much money wiping out the student debt that is holding back generations from properly participating in this society and in this world. So while I'm happy to see some of this happening, I just want to point out that I don't want to give the praise to HBCUs in the sense that, not that they don't deserve it for this little bit of help, but that they shouldn't be forced or called upon or shouldn't be praised for doing something that we should be angrily addressing the more powerful and well-funded federal government to do in much greater degrees and greater numbers. So anyway, hey, appreciate you, Tahir. Thank you very
Tahir,
much.
Salute.
And anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up real quick. And again, just another plug for what we're doing here for the after party concept. We need new movements that address ourselves to the actual wealth that exists and stop running around here with fantasies that have nothing to do with assuming political power. So anyway, Ear Doctor, I know you waiting. You got one more thing for us before we wrap up, man. What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, cool. Yo, I'm about to take y'all to school real quick. That's cool.
Morris Brown in the building.
Hey,
Morris Brown,
talk
baby.
about it. HBCU, baby.
He got the apple today.
All right. Well, yo, I'm gonna take y'all to class real quick and teach y'all a little bit about hip hop. Can I do that?
Please do.
Let's get it.
The remix.
What's good, y'all? What's good, y'all? This is the Ear Doctor, and this is the Remix Morning Show. Now, you say, why does this guy have a mic in his hand? Listen, I actually teach hip-hop classes. Big up to Sandtown Middle School. I've been teaching their classes for the last couple years. And what I wanted to talk about today real quick was the difference between freestyling and freestyle flow. Now, some people have a freestyle where they go straight off the top of their head. And they could talk about the pencils in the back on top of the books. Teacher gave an apple and she gave me good looks. So that's just going off what I see on the screen. That's called freestyling. Then you have a freestyle flow. A freestyle flow is a written rhyme that you have in your mind that you can flow over any beat, and it doesn't matter. So with that said, you heard a little freestyle. Let's go with a little freestyle flow. All right. And this goes out to all those cops out there. Yo. The pig niggas figure they bigger, gun triggers come out, they bout nothing, them bitches straight front, and I got them, cut them, give them no loving. I push them, shove them straight in the oven. The jive turkeys ain't worthy, yo, I'm from Jersey, you heard me, you couldn't serve me if you was a waiter, but you a hater, so alligator, catch you later, catch a freighter, something out of town, clown, get me down, found the knot, it's not, it dot, I rock the spot, no need for no Glock, I pop, like soda, snap your neck back like Sankofa, tell them coons it's over, cause it's that remix culture. And we right here, y'all. And that's what freestyle flow. So that's what it is. Let me take it back to the morning crew, because you know how we do. A little bit of hip-hop knowledge, edutainment. Let's get it. All right?
Yo,
right.
wow. Go ahead here, Doctor.
Hey.
You know, I wasn't with Mama's Biscuits, but I've been performing since the high school with Matiki Scales, Common Ground Collective.
You might have been able to rock with us a little bit. We might have had you up on that stage.
I think there was an impromptu audition, man. Was that?
You know what I'm saying?
That was, man?
I'm trying to get down with Mama Biscuits. Come on, man.
Ain't nothing better than Mama's Biscuits. That's it. That was hot, man. Appreciate
stuff,
you,
man.
Doctor.
Salute.
Right on.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was dope, and I appreciate the little breakdown, the explanation of the freestyle and all that. Shout out to all the freestylers. Shout out to
no doubt
Supernatural, who I saw live in the best sounding auditorium I've ever been in, which was in Amsterdam.
Wow.
And at the end of a Dilated Peoples show, or before the Dilated Peoples show, which I saw, and in this amphitheater, the best sound I've ever heard was in this joint. Like everything sounded so crisp.
In
All
Amsterdam?
the cuts. In Amsterdam, in this spot in Amsterdam.
Hey, listen, man. Me playing crackers advocate. I would imagine in Amsterdam, depending on what you did before you went to that studio.
Did I? And did I ever?
Hey, so you could have been in the bathroom like, yo, this the clearest sound. Yo, I've never been in the studio like this. Word is bar. Yo, you killed it.
Man, it sounded real good, man.
I bet it did. You felt real good, didn't you?
I
Shout out
felt
to
real good.
Amsterdam.
The show was real good. Shout out to Amsterdam, and shout out to
Goddamn
Dilated
Amsterdam.
Peoples and Supernatural. Supernatural was
Yes.
up there freestyling, just like he said, like you know, telling people, give him a word and all that kind of stuff, and rhyming off of what he saw in the crowd and all that stuff. Shout out to all the real freestylers out there.
Hey, man.
Yeah,
You know what?
Dilated Peoples, man, it was a great show, man. Real hip-hop.
I was thinking, I was thinking like,
oh, and I'm sorry. Shout out to Cornell West Theory, because I was with them to see on a little semi-tour trip with them.
was Mama's Biscuits there? They just
No, just me. Me. I was doing a little book thing. They were doing a music thing, and you know, and they killed it over there. They killed it in the small. I love small hip, man. Shout out to hip hop everywhere, man.
Yes.
Just shout out to hip hop, man.
Shout out to what you said, man. It's like when you look back at the old school origins of hip hop, going to like the skating rings, going to like just checking out these little small venues, and when the artists weren't that big, but you loved and respect them because of the fact that everybody in the region knew them, or everybody in the city knew them. You know what I mean? Shout out to the home team and to all those artists who never recorded.
And you got to do to see what I saw them do. Like in this instance, a small venue in a country that doesn't even necessarily speak your language, never heard of you. You're not some super famous, and you have to show up not being already known and still rock the crowd, and win them over. So I was in the back of the spot, sipping on my drink and watching, and they you see the crowd, everybody's kind of looking like, who are these cats? What are they gonna do? What are they gonna sound like? And then you start seeing people like this, and then by the end of the show, everybody's hands up doing. I mean, I was like, man, shout out to Tim Hicks, Rashad Dobbins, and the whole Cornell West Theory crew.
Man.
They killed it, man.
Hey, listen, man. There's so many artists that tour internationally that aren't quote unquote big here, but they're big on the underground hip hop. Shout out to folks like J Live and Stacey Epps. You know what I'm saying? Science of Life, John Cy Robinson. You know what I'm saying? All of these good folks that really just they rip shit, and it's like Boog Brown. You know what I'm saying? The Cyrocs and like you said, Ekandio. So many people that are serious about their craft. I know you and I was talking on the phone a couple of days ago, and one of the things that we were talking about was the fact that just the respect for people who are serious about their craft. You don't have to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? My man Mike Flo, one of the lines he said in one of his joints, he said, I'm not expecting you to be me, just be the best you that you could be. You understand what I'm saying? And that is the important thing. I'm part of murdering colonialism. Part of burying imperialism is you have to reject their notions. You have to reject their styles. You got to reject what they say is the norm. So often we see us in movement and struggle still trying to keep up with these bastards. That's not it. I'm not saying put a dashiki on. I'm not saying put a kufi on or walk around with a jug of water staff. If that's what you want to do, knock yourself out. I'm just saying you have to reject their bullshit. Fuck them and their labels. You understand what I'm saying? We have to be revolutionary with this shit, have a revolutionary state of mind, and change the entire paradigm. And we have to decide which artists are the dope artists. We have to decide which artists we rocking with. You know what I'm saying? Not what they're talking about. We don't even have to acknowledge that shit. You know what I mean? So I'm not complaining about some of these mainstream artists because of the fact that I know that, they're $1 million slaves. That's what their job is. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen,
Again,
speaking of which,
yeah.
I was watching this. I know we're about to wrap here, but I was watching this documentary about the 1999 30th anniversary of Woodstock concert. Do you remember when that thing happened? And it turned into I mean, I wasn't really paying attention to it like that at the time. 1999, yeah. And it was, they blamed it on Limp Bizkit and bands like that.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I watched this documentary about what really happened. I had never really paid attention to it like that. And one of the pieces that relates to what you were just talking about is that one of the things, at least that this documentary argues, and I would tend to agree, is that the industry was clear. Like there was a clear intent behind what artists would be invited to this show.
Right.
And the argument in the documentary was that they got it wrong. In other words, if you're trying to do a show that's supposed to commemorate 30 years of peace and et cetera like that, instead of inviting people like the late Zumbi, you invite, no disrespect to the late DMX, but you bring DMX. And if you got DMX in front of 100,000 people they even did the part where he was encouraging everybody all those white people to follow him along and referring to us as niggas and all this other kind of stuff. But if you bring that kind of energy, which I love DMX, I love that energy, but not in that context. And then you follow it up with bands are going to push these, as they were describing the documentary accurately, young, angry white boys and push their already drunk and dehydrated energy levels to the, in other words, my point is that the industry people understand that there is a relationship between the moods and attitudes of young people and the music that is imposed on them or encouraged for them to hear. And that you can manipulate them, and we can be manipulated collectively by the music and the media and the energy that is provided for us. And if we're not careful, if we're not organized in response. So one of the people they interviewed said, "Look, I'm a mild-mannered person, and looking back at it, I can't believe that I got caught up in the riotousness of it. But in the moment, I turned into it." He said, "A savage," and I was like, some might argue how much he had to go into turning into a savage, but
halfway there.
He's halfway there. But he was acknowledging the impact of the environment, including the music and the artists that were selected, all of whom were not the peace and love cats that you talk about from the 60s, but all the new wave angry white boy. It was interesting. So anyway, I just thought about that as you were talking about what you were saying there about
that's funny you said that.
Who becomes famous for us or whatever. Yeah,
that's funny you saying that because of the fact that with the FTP movement, part of our we had a what do you call that, man? I can't even think of the name of the term we was using, but dealing with what we did, we would have our artists, we would go to different clubs where they were having open mics and all that type of stuff. And you go to these clubs in the hood, you go to these little bars, and then every bar in every hood, they talking about, suck this, do this, I smoke this, I made this amount of money, so on and so forth. So we're coming with like 5 to 7 different MCs. And we'll have, our mission would be to talk shit about the police. So everything will be about fuck the police. So after 3, 4 different artists come up talking about fuck the police and talking about politics and political prisoners, all these other artists, they fall in line. Because you don't want to be the motherfucker that's coming up, everybody talking about fuck the police, and then you want to get up there talking about bitches and hoes. You understand what I'm saying? That's just not going to work out. So we would do that strategically every week. You know what I'm saying? The poets, the hip hop artists, so on and so forth. And that was it was a form of resistance. You know what I'm saying? We called it creative resistance because of the fact that that's what it was. The parties and events we threw down here for folks that are from Atlanta, we would do the Crew Love joints where we'd have these independent hip hop artists come through. They would rock with us. Part of the reason they're able to go on stage because they would come out supporting our community works. They'll be doing the Feed the People programs. They'll be at the rallies, the protests, so on and so forth. So we would have parties with a purpose. We would do Poets for Political Prisoners, which is something I want to do right here on Black Power Media, where we would have different freedom fighters get up and speak for about 5 minutes. Artists perform, freedom fighter speaks, artists perform, and we would rock that shit. And we did those things for years to raise money for political prisoners and for community works. That's where we have to take it back to. You know what I'm saying? Not just bullshit talking about what some of these other whack ass rappers are talking about,
Hey, well, speaking of whack ass rappers and whack ass morning shows and news channels and programs, we have offered enough of an antidote this morning. 2+ hours of Remix Morning Show Boom Bap Breakfast, the antidote that you need for your media diet. I want to thank Kalanji Changa, Ear Doctor, Sister May in the back, and all the remixers out there for joining us this morning. And we'll be back tomorrow, same bat time, same black channel. So shout out to everybody. Peace if you're willing to fight for it like Fred. We'll catch you later next time.
No doubt.
Remix and BPM.
Ready
Peace,
for revolution.
everybody.
Yes.